One. Hello, my name is Bryce Tubbs. With me today is Joy Gandell. I'm extremely excited to be able to share a story with you guys because she's an executive function life coach at SETA Coaching and Training. As an executive function life coach, she has significant impact on assisting individuals struggling with their executive function skills so that they can experience more success and are able to lead more independent and or rewarding lives at home, school, and work. I'm super excited for you guys to kind of sit in on this conversation and cannot wait to see what value we come out of this. Thank you so much, Joy.
Thank you, Bryce. I really appreciate it. I'm very excited to speak to all of you and to tell you about who I am and what I do.
Nice. So everybody has a story. What was life like before you got into coaching, and what was the catalyst that brought you into the field?
So before I started coaching, I was a human resource consultant for the past 10 years, in human resources in total for 20. And what happened was a few years ago, I think it was 2 years ago, my daughter was coded with ADHD and 3 learning differences. And my son at the same time was your neurotypical teenager going through teenage, whatever, angst, disorganization, and us parents of teenagers know what we're talking about. And I found an academic coach for my daughter to help her with her executive function skills as they were weak. And I was looking at the things that she was doing with my daughter, and I said, oh my goodness, I do those things at home with my kids all the time, primarily with my son. And I wanted to look further into what this person was doing with my daughter, and she gave me a book, and the book changed my life. The name of the book is Smart But Scattered Teens, and it introduced me to what executive functions are. And when I read this book, I said, that's exactly what I want to do. I want to help teenagers, students, professionals, anybody who has executive function obstacles in their way. I want to help you overcome those obstacles and achieve success. And so that's how I fell into this. So I first started by getting my certification in academic coaching. And now I've fulfilled the education requirements to be a life coach. I have several hours under my belt as a life coach. And I am just heading towards my ACC certification in life coaching, specifically executive function life coaching. Nice. So that's my story.
Well, I'm glad that you're doing this work because, there's not enough people doing it, especially in like the educational system when they're in school. Oftentimes you just push them off to the side, and like especially just kind of thinking about my brother in his school. There's so many kids that graduated in his year that just did not have the skills to make it, to that next level, even go to get to college and that time in between college and high school. It's like, what did you guys teach them? And it's so easy for them or for schools to go and cater to the people that are like the highest level, the guys who are trying to get into Harvard, versus the people who are regular. They just say, oh, you don't get it the first time? Sorry.
Well, it's not the teacher's fault necessarily. The teachers, when they go to school, they learn how to teach content. And what this is, in terms of the academic realm, it's teaching the students how to learn. It's teaching them how to learn the content. And the teachers, we all went to school, we all learned our own tips and tricks that helped us memorize lists and so on and so forth. But really, how to learn is a whole other ball game. It's way more than tips and tricks. It's knowing about your brain, how the brain grows, how our intelligence can grow, and then taking those principles and applying them to the content that we're being taught in school. And then So that's just how to apply it in our school life. But I am so sure that people who have a hard time, or students, professionals who have a hard time handing in their work on time, getting their assignments done on time, and I'm talking about the workplace as well, chances are those who struggle getting their school assignments done on time struggle to get their work assignments done on time later on in life. And so it's learning what it is inside our brain that's preventing us from doing it, and coaching helps overcome those obstacles.
Can I ask you a question? So how can people start to become more aware of what, some of their struggles are? Because like oftentimes people, they'll mislabel it's like procrastination versus
Correct.
just unorganized.
I agree. So there is a lot of mislabeling. There's, especially when it comes to students, even professionals. When I was in HR, I remember managers would come to me and say, this person is just lazy. This person is unmotivated. And the laziness, unmotivation, and procrastination, those three titles are applied to almost everybody. And really, if we look deeper, to answer your question, the place to start is really examining and learning what our executive functions are. And once we learn what our executive functions are and we discover that, we can then start the self reflection process. And I see how this is affecting me. So just to give you an example of what our executive functions are, we're talking about task initiation. We're talking about sustained attention, being able to keep our attention focused, attention, memory, working memory, being able to keep something in our mind long enough so that we can actually execute, or organization, prioritization, planning, all of these and more are what we consider executive functions. And a critical one is self-regulating. Self-regulating our emotions, self-regulating our attention, all of these things, if once we identify what our executive functions are, then I think and the self-awareness starts coming.
Uh-huh. How much, let me ask you this. So what are some things that can reduce our executive functions?
Reduce them. So stress, when we're under stress, our ability to self-regulate, our ability to pay attention to things really really has a huge impact. And when I say stress, I'm not just talking about, stress work, pressures at home, moving. These are all big life stresses, and we all recognize that those are stresses. But really, a stress is anything that impacts us, our brains, who we are. And so if we don't get enough sleep, that's a stress to our system. If we're not eating properly or we skip meals, that's another stress to our system. If we're unable to read the cues of people, or we have, let's say I'm just using an example that popped into my head. Let's say we're an introvert and we're forced to go and network in a room full of people. That's a stress to our system. So all of these things will impact our ability to regulate ourselves and perform at our top.
So can you give some advice about how to perform through these stresses? For example, like, sometimes things happen. Sometimes you have to go to bed a little bit later. Sometimes, you miss a meal. Can you talk about maybe some things we can do to recover quicker from those stressors?
So it's really knowing our bodies, knowing how we work. So obviously it doesn't come overnight, but starting to be more aware of what our triggers are and how we react to those triggers. So that's where you would start. And then once you start identifying those, finding a place of calm and bringing the center back, because we need to start being able to function with the stress. And so if we have too much and they're mounting, we end up in a stress cycle where it's just over and over and over. And so let's say, to get through the day, what are some things that you can do for yourself that are really going to offset the fact, like you had mentioned, you didn't sleep well the night before? So perhaps you can drink more orange juice, get more fruits and vegetables, feed your body the good things that'll help you recharge your brain, your body. And then deep breathing and just bringing yourself down to a calm. A lot of us don't know what calm feels like. We know what quiet feels like. We don't know what true calm, inner peace feels like. And once we start practicing these things, we're able to get ourselves out of the cycles faster.
Can you describe the difference between inner peace and quiet?
So quiet is just being quiet. Watching TV. We think we're watching TV, we're passive. Oh, we must be calm. But that's really being quiet. And everything I'm telling you is really not what these are things that I've learned, but specifically this life, it really changed the way I see everything. It's a doctor, his name is Dr. Stuart Shanker, and he wrote a book, and he goes into great depth about all this. But really, calm is when we're able to really be at peace with ourselves and not have any stimuli around us, and to be happy and to be okay with just being in the moment, in the stillness. And the key part is being okay with it and to just be. And that's what true peace and true calm is. And we're not used to that anymore. We're scrolling on Facebook. That, again, that's being quiet. It's not being calm. It's not recharging our brains.
Can I ask you, so would a journaling, for example, would you consider that calm, or is that quiet?
Sorry, I didn't hear what
For like journaling, like for sitting,
journaling.
yeah.
So journaling, I would classify as something that is recharging yourself. So it would bring a sense of calmness because you're focused in a task in the moment, and it's probably regenerating. So we also want to find activities, but this is during the day, that can help us recharge, and where we're fully immersed in something, but an activity that is bringing benefit to us. So journaling, if we're talking about self-reflection on our day and so on, that to me would be an activity where it brings you into yourself and regenerates. And so that would be a place of calm. When people practice yoga, you're doing an activity, but you're so centered on yourself and your breathing that it's really regenerating your energy and helping you recharge the battery. Eventually, if we use up the battery of our phones, it needs to be recharged. Well, the same thing with us. We need to be recharged, and there are many ways to do that.
Okay. Cool. Just kind of switching gears, what does vision look like for you? Either like 1 year, 5 years, life? What does vision look like?
Okay. So it's very interesting. I'm working on my visioning right now, and I have so many ideas. For right now, year one, I have an idea. I want to be more established as my private practice and have a steady flow of clients coming in and out. 5 years from now, I would like to be doing group coaching, offer classes online as well as in person. And then 10 years, I haven't gotten that far yet. But by year 5, I'm definitely doing individual and group coaching. If I can also find connections with schools, universities, workplaces. That would be fun too, if I can go in and start doing group coaching in those settings as well.
Nice. That'd be really cool. What does success mean to you?
Success is, for me, probably not the traditional. Success is very much how I am at home with my children and having what I consider a balance between my home life and my coaching practice. I would like to have a very healthy, thriving coaching practice, but my home life is definitely, achieving that balance is very important for me.
Nice. Are you working on any special projects right now, like a program, course, book, conference?
Not at the moment. My special project, the special project for me right now is to build the private life coaching practice.
Okay, yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah, generally that's a time where you can like say something about what you're doing, like have one-on-one sessions open or something, so that people, who are watching and actually want to connect with you, will know what their options are to work with you. But that's okay. How can people learn more about you and where can they go to connect with you?
So to connect with me, I'm on Facebook. I'm also on LinkedIn. And if you Google my business, SETA, SETA, I'm there as well. So that's the ideal ways of reaching out to me.
Nice, excellent. I really appreciate your time today, and thank you so much for doing the interview.
Bryce, thank you so much. I really appreciate it as well. Wishing everybody and you, Bryce, to stay healthy and stay safe.
Excellent. It's really the reason why I bring on guests just like Joy is because it's always great to have a new perspective. Like I learned something today. I didn't know there was a difference between quiet and calm. And that's actually a very, very, very important distinction that to be able to make. And it only comes with awareness. Now, awareness is developed by being around people who are either a little bit ahead of you or who know how to point you in the right direction. So for those watching, if you've been looking for a place to come and connect with people who are improving themselves and helping others do the same, I recommend you go and check out our free community, either on LinkedIn or Facebook. Basically, it's a mastermind of people coming together and supporting and uplifting each other every single day. So if that is what you've been searching for in these challenging times, I recommend you go click on the link either above or below the video to go ahead and join us inside of our community. Hopefully you enjoyed watching this as much as we enjoyed creating it. Feel free to hit that share button so other people can get some benefit as well. Have a great day. Talk to you soon. We're done recording in 3 and 2 and 1.